welcome back to Community Crossfire. I'm Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver. I'm here tonight to interview Ms. Pritchett regarding the Bancroft School. Good evening, Ms. Pritchett. How you feeling this evening?
Great.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, we're going to just get straight to the nitty-gritty. Ms. Pritchett, how do you feel about the Maurice Academy School opening?
Well, I'm very excited. I'm very excited because of the fact that it's named, of course, after my husband, and Maurice Pritchett Sr. And he was born and raised here on the east side of Wilmington, was mentored by many of the great community leaders, and following in their footsteps and being willing to, wanting to give back. He worked for a number of years in the school systems here on the in Christina School District on the east side, the Wilmington School District and then Christina School District.
What has been some of the feedback from the community regarding the school?
Well, everyone has been excited.
Right.
And everyone is excited. August 23rd, 2 to 5.
Could you repeat that? Because a lot of people ask me, so you want to tell them that.
Okay. The event takes place August 23rd, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And there'll be the ribbon cutting. Of course, there's a lot to see in the school. Many of the particulars I don't know about because they're going to surprise me.
Okay.
So, which will be also another gift. So they have taken this situation or that, you know, we're going to surprise you, but just be there for that ribbon cutting, which takes place at 2 p.m. Okay. So I said, I will be there.
I know that's right. Have you ever considered starting a Bancroft alumni?
Oh, yes, we have. We met.
I heard Ms. Parks had told me, okay.
Yes, Ms. Parks and a couple other people involved with that. Ms. Moyer was there and Ms. Ford, and in fact, we wanted to provide for the community an opportunity for the people that had attended Bancroft to be able to do a final walkthrough, you know, because it's emotional.
Right.
And when you look at that building and you realize it's no longer going to be there, and many of them spent many years, early mornings, late evenings at that building, and many happy memories because Mr. Pritchett was there for 40 years in just in administration, but 35 years there, and the teachers stayed. They didn't transfer out. They just stayed right there. So therefore, there are many memories, wonderful memories there. And him and Mr. Vassos.
Mr. Vassos, wow.
Yes.
Bring back memories.
Yes.
What level, what is the grades? Or you know if it's going to be 1st to 5th or 1st to 7th?
As I know, it's going to be grades K through 8.
Okay.
And that's what Bancroft was. Bancroft initially was a middle school, and then it went back to being, should say a junior high school, then a middle school, and then later they went back to put in the earlier grades, grade 1, and then they added kindergarten, the grade K.
What colors are people wearing on the 23rd? What are the colors?
Well, Bancroft's colors didn't change. They're still blue and gold.
Okay.
But I'll have my red on because it's in honor of my husband, Maurice Pritchett, who was a Kappa.
I know, that's right.
And Kappa's wives are silhouettes.
That's right.
And a lot of times people will say to me, are you a Delta? Well, no, I'm pink and green with Kamala.
Okay.
But I will always be his lady in red.
I know, that's right. I love that. That was well said. Well, what else would you like to talk about?
Well, first, what I'd like to say is thank you to all of you, because, you know, I will be there doing the ribbon cutting, but there were so many people, you, Miss Michelle Carly, just Darius, the legislators, governor, that had input into this. And so I'm just thankful for what all the legislators, city councilors, Stephanie and all of them did. I'm also thankful when I look back over the years because, you know, Mr. Pritchett grew up in a household and there wasn't a father figure. But he had people like Gator Lewis and Doc Hill, and that's how he went to college. Doc Hill took him down there, and they certainly got a scholarship. So these are the people that began to fed into this final activity that,
Praise God.
yeah, that we're going to see. And so I'm just thankful for all of them and all that they have done, and it has been a chance to bring back wonderful memories. I keep in contact with Mrs. Basso, so she's
That's
also, yeah, she's also very excited too. So, so it's just a time of a celebration, a time to say thank you to the community, because that's what Mr. Pritchett was about.
That's right.
And then also just to be happy and realizing that we have a job to do, like any other. It's time for the school doors to open, and everyone has to get busy and get to work and do their part.
Well, I have to say, one thing about Mr. Pritchett and Miss Pritchett, they always gave me a job. I always was very involved, and they sent me to various schools to do outreach work, to mentor, and that's one of the reasons I had got into working with young women, young ladies on the east side, because of Mr. Pritchett and Miss Pritchett. And when I didn't have anywhere to take them, because my brother was over South Bridge, and I couldn't just keep walking the kids from the east side over South Bridge, Mr. Pritchett said, you could come on over here and let me use a little room over in Bancroft. And one thing about both of y'all were always involved in the community and looking out for everybody. So for that, I appreciate you, and I love you so much for always. I've never wanted a job. If I didn't have a job, Mr. Pritchett said, come on and work for me. So, and Miss Pritchett. So I want to give kudos to Miss Pritchett for always being there for the community. So I will be there on the 23rd with my Bancroft colors on. I got my outfit laid out.
Okay.
And I'll be there to celebrate the ribbon cutting for Mr. Pritchett Overdue, who was a mentor, who was the godfather to us, especially for the East Side kids, you know, and he's always looked out for us, and so have you, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And people don't know because of Mr. Pritchett, Miss Pritchett, these contracts that a lot of minorities have in the school today is staying on y'all's shoulders, because there wasn't even the minorities in the schools that had the contracts.
Right, yeah. So it's a time to be thankful, and as I began to prepare, helping to do whatever, you know, I needed to be done when they called upon me, you know, I just reflected back over all those people, and I think about that were there, the Miss Street, Miss Bailey, Miss Garrett, Amelia Garrett, and Miss Wright.
Miss Parks.
Yeah.
Miss Betty. And,
Miss Betty Parks, yeah.
And Miss Park.
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark.
Miss Moyer.
Yep, yes.
They were the administrators there at that time period in the building.
How's Mr. Clark doing?
Mr. Clark is doing fine. I was
Great.
talking
So
to
you
him the
mentioned
other
that.
day,
Okay.
and Major Harrison, I was talking to his wife the other day,
Okay.
and he's doing fine. So all those people have contributed to this this final event. You know, have played some role in this final event, and which makes me happy and also very thankful. So that Mayor Seals and his wife.
That's right.
Yeah, and the Hicks and the Al Plant.
Right.
You know, it just brings back joy.
Right. Donna Brown, she's real excited.
Oh, my goodness. Donna B. I call her Donna B.
Yes.
Donna
I talked
B.
to Donna, and I saw the other day, she's like, make sure you come to the river. Make sure. She said like 5 times. I'm like, Donna, I will be there. So that's really good. People are very excited.
Yes, and that's how it should be. The time for school to open. I remember Mr. Pritchett and Mr. Vassals would go down to, there was a park right on Kirkwood Highway, and they would have the PTA come and the teachers and the students, and Mr. Vassals would be doing the hot dogs and the hamburgers, and they'd have a good time just celebrating prior to the start of school.
Oh, that was the school opening.
Yeah,
that was their little picnic.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah,
I'm thinking at the end of the year, they would do it at the beginning.
No, they would do it at the beginning. They always had a big celebration going in.
Oh.
Yeah, and you know he was always there, him and Mr. Vassals right there at the front.
Right.
Welcoming.
Standing right there, welcoming everybody in.
Welcoming the children in.
Praise God.
Every day, whether it was snowing or whatever. They were there. They got there early.
Okay.
Yep, and they stayed late.
Yeah, they would always be there after school, and
Yep,
parents come late, they'd be out there waiting.
yep.
That's when the principals and the vice principals were really engaged with the youth, with their kids, in
Right.
school.
Right. Many days he would say the young ones would come and knock on his window, and they want to come in the gym, and he'd tell them, "Come on in. I'll be here." And a lot of times I would call Mrs. Vassar. I said, "Did Mr. Vassar get home yet?" I would call Mrs. Vassar. And because I would time it, whether he got home, then I knew Mr. Pritchett. She said, "No, he hasn't gotten home yet either." I said, "When are they going to leave that school and come home?" I said, and when he retired, he had so many days because he had given some of his time because you're allowed to give some of your time to people who are sick,
Okay.
critically ill. They might need some sort of medical, and they don't have the time. So
Okay.
twice he gave his time up. And he still had, because during the summers, when doors closed, they didn't go on vacation. They started planning for next year.
Wow.
And getting the work done. So they called and told him, "You got to take some vacation time," But we were always doing programs,
Yeah,
either on the
At the
north
school?
side or over there over there where they just did the new community center over there, the Kingswood.
Kingswood Community.
Yeah, we were doing reading programs, and that was wonderful to see the community people play a key role in serving as making certain that the young people were doing their reading, getting the homework done. So we ran programs right through the summer, and then we know it was time to go back to school.
What would you like to say in closing? We got a few more minutes left. You have anything closing?
Well, I said my thank yous to those educators and those in government and all that, and just keep the movement going. That's the main thing. Realize that the doors of the school open because the children come in.
Amen. Okay.
The children come in. That's why those doors open. And so therefore, if you keep the children first and at the forefront, then everything else will go the way that you want it to. And that's most important.
Thank you. One thing about y'all, old school educators was about educating the students, educating us, and making sure we was on the right track. And nowadays, it seems like it's about a lot of them opposed to the kids, which is unfortunate. But looking forward to the ribbon cutting and keeping everything upbeat. God bless you, and I love you. And you keep doing what you're doing. You look good.
Yeah, I'm trying, and I love you too. And you
I
take
tell
care
Norman,
of yourself.
I
And tell Norman, tell him I said hi and send my love to him.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll be right back with Community Crossfire.
We got to pay back. Revenge.
Well, good day to you, and thank you for joining us at the Community Crossfire. We're glad to have you on today, and thank you for taking time just to share with us. I'm your host on this glorious day. My name is Bishop George E. Gibson II. I serve as the president of IMAC, Interdenominational Ministers Action Council, and the pastor for the last 44 years of the Love Nation. I have in the studio with me my good friend and brother, who I love dearly, Dr. Ron Whitaker. How are you, sir? And please introduce yourself.
Bishop, I am doing well. As you already gave my name, I am blessed to be the pastor of the historic Mother African Union Church, affectionately known as the Motherland Nation, and I am also the residential host of the 210th gathering for the August Quarterly.
Well, listen, man, I am so glad to have you today, and that's what we want to talk about kind of in our first section, man. Tell us what we should be expecting at the August Quarterly this year.
Definitely. Well, before I even get the lineup, let's just deal with the theme.
Yeah, do it. Yes,
This
indeed.
year's theme is the community recommitted to our common purpose. When we think about so much disunity that's going on, from a historical standpoint, the August Quarterly was about unity. So that's the spirit that we are going in as we're about to start this year's gathering. But when we talk about the lineup, on Sunday we kick it off at 10 a.m. at the Mother African Union Church, 812 North Franklin Street. We kick it off with Bishop Teresa Hicks, our mutual friend and colleague of the gospel, who is going to be the opening worship preacher. We are also excited that we're going to have our wreath laying ceremony, and that takes place every year where we remember the life and legacy of the Reverend Peter Spencer. On Tuesday, I will say this, get there if you can, by any means necessary, by plane, train, automobile, skateboard, whatever you need to do. At the Wilmington Public Library, we are hosting for a critical conversation Dr. Eddie Esglaw Jr. Many individuals are familiar with him as he is an esteemed college professor at Princeton University, a New York Times best-selling author, also a MSNBC political analyst. But we're really going to talk about the need for courageous leadership, taking a historical backdrop, exploring the lives of Dr. King and Malcolm X and Ella Baker. We're going to think about and wrestle with what does leadership look like in 2024, particularly intersecting it with the Black church. So again, that's a conversation that you do not want to miss. Even though we are at capacity, just show up. There may be some open seats. Then on Thursday, we're going to talk about that in a few.
Yeah, well, let's talk. I want to talk a little more about what you just shared for Tuesday.
Absolutely.
I think that critical conversation is kind of really where we kind of land the hammer on the nail that everything rises and falls with leadership.
That's right. That's right.
Where do you think we are at this current moment when it comes to Black leadership? We could just say in the city, the state, the country. What are your feelings?
We're at a defining moment.
Okay.
Yeah, we are truly at a defining moment. And my claims about where we are, I think, aligns with what Dr. Glaude has been talking and writing about, where it's the need for those that understand the importance of this time to rise up. I think also one of the things that we have to be careful about with leadership is that we can't get stuck in the past. Even though we learn from the past, we celebrate the past. It's 2024. And you know, Bishop, so many people are still waiting for the next Martin or Malcolm. And the argument is, you know what? Leadership resides in all of us. And we need to think about how we're making change in our spaces of influence. I also think the key piece is, how do we remain unified? In many ways within our communities, and I know we talk about this all the time, we're our own worst enemy, where we're tearing each other down, or we're jockeying for position, or we're competing against one another. So we're not unified for a common agenda. And this is what the August Quarterly historically was all about. We had individuals that would come from Virginia, the Carolinas, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, here to Delaware. And essentially, it was the Black State of the Union address for the year. That after this week, here's how we're going to move politically, educationally, economically. We could go on, and we got to get back to that.
I think that is so important. It was interesting. Last week I was having a conversation with someone, and they reminded me of the August Quarterly on French Street.
Come on.
And so they were talking about how French Street would be flooded, but with all of these Black people and all these people from various places and spaces in life, and you can sense the tribal unity. And I think for me, sometimes I struggle with what you struggle with, of us being unified. Because when Paul talks about us walking in unity, he says there's nothing that we're supposed to conjure up. We don't have to manufacture it. That the Spirit of Christ in us, corporately and collectively, allows us just to walk in that unity. Is what we're supposed to do. Is part of our stride. You know, it's part of our movement. And so I think that some of the things that you are doing, some of the things I'm doing, some of the things we're doing, you and I collectively, talk about that we don't have to compete.
Not at all.
That we actually complement each
That's
other.
it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I think that once we get to that space,
Okay.
everything else is going to be a game
Yeah,
changer,
yeah, yeah.
right? And we know it can be done. I don't mean to hurt anyone's feelings, but when a young black male or young black female is gunned down in the streets by a police officer, we come together, right? So we know it can be done, but it has to be consistent. And as you said, I think one of the things that we always struggle with in terms of our liberation struggle and the fight for liberation is ego. Right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's ego.
yeah,
I
yes,
mean,
sir.
from a historical backdrop, everybody loved King now, but not in 67 and 68. Wasn't just white America that didn't like him, black America didn't like him too. So as you said, it has to get to the place of we're working together. I know I may offend some of my Christian brothers and sisters, but even if that means that, you know what, some of our Muslim brothers and sisters are taking a lead because they have influence in a certain space. If we can have common agreement in terms of some of the social issues, it's going to benefit everyone.
And I think when you talk about the Muslim community, I am so appreciative of Minister Robert Muhammad and some of the other guys are from the Islamic community. Whenever there's a fight to be had, whenever there's a march, whenever there's a time that we must move aggressively to the solution, they always stand with us, and I love their heart. And I have a special love for them, and they have a special love. And I think that the commonality of communities that we are trying to raise and bring courage and resources to, that we just don't have to fight. We don't have to fight. We have to learn how to bring freedom.
That's right.
And to undergird our own liberation.
Yeah, but catch this. We are literally here on Community Crossfire having a conversation.
Yeah, okay.
And for change to happen in our communities, we need conversation.
We need conversation, yes, sir.
One of the great black theologians, the late, great Dr. James Cone, literally one of my favorite 3 books ever published, where he talks about Malcolm and Martin, A Dream and a Nightmare, poignantly written, where he argues that towards the end of their life, they were essentially becoming the same person.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
right?
indeed. Yes.
And genius to write that in scholarship, but practically we struggle with that because we don't have conversations. We don't have conversations in terms of our common alignment and what really matters the most, and who needs to take the lead and who needs to fall back, right?
And it's okay to fall back.
It's okay. What? All of us have a season.
Yeah, it's okay
Right.
that you lead and I support. And
That's it.
Sometimes people ask me at IMAC, some of the services, well, you're sitting on the front row. I said, well, I have competent captains. I got people that are part of the total group, by which I don't have to do everything. Part of my leadership in ministry has been that every year I try to give up another piece of power. In that, if that you are developing leaders, and if somebody now can do what you do, why are you still doing it?
That's right.
That the part of understanding your ability is not only reproducing yourself in someone else, but also being okay with preserving yourself.
That's right.
That you don't have to do it all. You know what I mean?
Right now, Bishop, I definitely want to celebrate you with that. You do that at a masterful level, and it's authentic. It comes from your heart in terms of making space, understanding everyone, gifting. But then I also want to tie that into your previous life as a professional athlete. We see that in the world of sports, that if you're going to have a championship team, everyone can't score 30 points. Everyone can't play 35, 40 minutes. You need that veteran presence. Those individuals, 1 or 2, that know they're never going to get in the game, but their job is to be the mentors.
Yeah.
Their job is to make sure there's cohesion. Their job is to train young men and young women in terms of how to just not just be better athletes, but better humans.
Well, you really spoke to a major moment in our history. Just the other day at the Olympics, I was so overwhelmed, not with just Steph Curry's play. I was overwhelmed with his teammates that understood the moment.
Understood, yes. Yep.
That Durant, this phenomenal, this phenomenal alien, you know what I mean? And LeBron, this Captain America, they deferred to Steph because he was on fire. So they understood. I don't have to do it because when we get this ring, all of us get in the ring, all of us walk away with the W. I think that it's okay to defer at the moment when you have the right person doing what needs to be done. We're going to take a break now at Community Crossfire, and we'll be back with you shortly.
We got to pay back. Revenge. Revenge.
And we're back at Community Crossfire here with my good friend, Dr. Ron Whitaker. I want to kind of shift the conversation for us this afternoon. I was having a conversation with Reverend Alice Husser one day after noonday
Yes.
at Bethel Church, and she said, "Bishop, you be talking about stuff, and I be catching you." She said, why don't you put together a Divine Nine service? And I said to her, that's wonderful. I said, because that's been on my mind and in my spirit. And I said, I'm going to talk to Dr. Whitaker, and we'll put it right inside of August Quarterly because it speaks to the volume of voices that are a part of Divine Nine. It speaks to not only the unity, but this wonderful canvas of HBCUs and black empowerment and just the landscape of our people moving in solidarity and moving in the direction of unity. Why don't you just talk a little bit about the Divine Nine service? I'll come back around, but what did you think about the idea when I first threw it at you?
So if you remember, you gave me a call, and I was on my way to Rhode Island to speak, and I said, Bishop, that's of God, because it falls in alignment with the August Quarterly. One of the things when we talk about Peter Spencer that oftentimes we overlook is his love for education, that in all of our churches, the Spencer churches, there was an educational component. So as we fast forward and we think about those institutions that have been committed to Black freedom, Black solidarity, Black hope, we start with the Black church. But then out of that, it's birth HBCUs. Out of that is Greek fraternities and sororities. So it just makes sense. But then we also talked about the need for unity, that when we come together on August the 22nd, it's not about Kappas versus Omegas,
Yeah.
Deltas versus AKA. It's us coming together and saying, we are in solidarity. We are going to praise together. But how about this? We're going to party together.
Yeah, we're going to party together.
In the name of the Lord, we're going to party
Indeed,
together
indeed.
and do things our way, because there's a cultural element
Yes, sir.
that
Yes,
we
sir.
cannot lose. And when we're talking about particularly the next generation,
Mm-hmm.
they need to see that.
I so love that when you are part of the divine nine, as you said, there is such a cultural
There we go.
cohesion. It is just simply wonderful. I am excited about the moment because we're in such a climate. You know, Maxwell says you see the wave, you catch the wave, and then you just ride the wave. And with our incoming sister girl president,
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
there is such a moment, you know, when I look at the Divine Nine, she's an AKA, our wonderful Lisa Blunt Rochester, about to go into the House of the Senate. So I'm looking at a White House chocolate. I'm looking at a Senate House chocolate. You know, Sherry Dorsey Walker, she's an AKA also. I'm looking at her going to the governor's house chocolate, and I'm looking at Velda, you know, who's a Delta. So we have all of these, watch this, powerful women.
Come on.
Because you cannot get around that this is the season and the year of the woman.
My God.
And one of my friends, we were talking, and he said to me, he said, you know, every time we would want something fixed or something healed, we had to go to a nurturing woman.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And for me, that was so powerful in that moment, that we see this landscape and this land swell of momentum in our country by all of the activity and all the rallies that Kamala Harris is having, and you just see this strong black woman that is coming with great femininity.
That's right.
To the microphone, speaking truth to power, and watch it, and have a plan to fix stuff.
Yeah.
Have a plan to fix it. Talk to me about the climate.
Yeah, so catch this. I think even when we're talking about this moment and what that looks like at the national level and in the state of Delaware, it also aligns with the history of the August Quarterly.
Okay.
Back in the 1800s, Peter Spencer said, male patriarchy has no place in the house of God. Wow. Where in the 1800s, he was ordaining women to preach and to lead. It's 2024, and we still
find
have
it.
patriarchy and sexism
Wow.
in the name of the Lord. So when we think about this moment and the excitement, but here's one of the things that excites me, Bishop, is that we got brothers saying that, you know what, in this moment, we have to lift up the arms, because not only are they capable, they're brilliant, and they hold the key to a lot of the things that we're struggling with. So we can't miss it. But we also have to understand that we have to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves.
Yes, indeed.
Because racism and sexism is about to be on the uptick. And we're seeing already in the language and the microaggressions, and we gotta name that. And we gotta call those things out.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, because what I have also heard the brothers say, that it is of necessity that we stand up and be men and protect our women.
There you go.
And,
There you go.
and for me, that is such a key component that now we're seeing all these different pockets. Like every time I turn around on my text or either on my emails, there's a Zoom call, there's a virtual call, there's something going on, and there's AKAs, and then there's the Divine Nine, and then there's the Qs for Kamala, and then there's this, and then the other week it was, you know, women of faith and women preachers.
There we go.
And then we had the white sisters all came together. And then just the other day, the Republicans started saying, hey, hey, we've been Republicans all our lives, but we with her on
We
this
with
one.
it, yeah.
You
Yep,
know, and so
absolutely.
for me, how did that grab you? You know, what
You
your
know what?
thoughts on that? Yeah.
It gives me hope.
Okay,
It
gives you
gives
hope.
me hope.
Yeah.
And it gives me hope for the fact of what I said earlier. Conversation is key.
Yeah.
But we cannot lose our hope.
Yeah, cannot
Even
lose
though we're dealing with the continual story of underemployment, unemployment, all types of gaps, we cannot lose our hope
Yeah.
that some folk have lost their convictions, right? It's like what King said, we're fighting for the soul of this nation. And we got to believe that some of our white brothers and sisters, even though we may not agree upon everything,
Yeah.
they still understand it's about the soul of this nation, the integrity of this nation, and it's about the next generation.
Yeah, I am so committed. About 2 weeks ago, one of the particular kind of forums that I'm a part of talked about starting the month of August as the month of the gospel.
I love it. Yeah.
That from August, the first Sunday, through the end of the year, just preach the unadulterated gospel of Jesus Christ. That, like when you use the word for me, the souls of the nation, and you know, I'm committed to the souls of the people.
There you go.
And that
There you go.
I think that, you know, for the longest time, one of my mottos have been that a saved city is a safe city. And I believe that God is still calling us to be ambassadors, to bring a word from another land that bring peace on earth, goodwill to all men. I still believe that it's your job and my job to not only make disciples, but let our disciples understand it's their job
It's their job.
to
Their
make
job.
disciples too. They have to grow
That's
the
right.
ministry. They have to change the complexion of the community. And for me, it is still about if my people. I don't think that stuff goes anywhere.
There you
I know that we have, you know, all this contemporary stuff that comes up, and sometimes we want to stray away from the old time way. But I think that the old time way and the new way, some way they're supposed to blend in a harmony,
other.
like an ebony and ivory,
That's
you
it.
know,
That's
so that we can see, you know, the salvation of God in our midst. Yeah.
I know we're coming up on time, but that's
You're
key.
good,
I
man.
want to hit us with this. One of my favorite verses goes like this in the Old Testament. The sons of Issachar understood the time. And for you and I and so many others, we have to discern the time.
Yes, indeed.
And for particularly those of us that are faith leaders and moved by the Spirit, we got to understand the spiritual dimensions and the natural dimensions. And we only got a season, Bishop.
Yeah.
We got a short time.
Yeah.
Again, using the athletic metaphor, Father Time is undefeated.
It's undefeated in every arena.
In every arena. People look at me as one of the younger leaders
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Delaware.
yeah.
My knees are starting to hurt now,
Yeah.
brother. I'm 3 years in. I'm icing up my knees,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
You know, I got aches
Yeah.
in the morning,
Yes, sir.
so I understand that it's already some wear and tear on me.
Yeah.
We got to understand the time, and that's why it's so important
Yeah.
to drop the division, to come together, and to understand that, as you said, it's about spreading the good news, but
Yeah.
then doing it.
Yeah.
I want to end with my remarks with this, with
Yeah.
with the Divine Nine service. When we think about the power of August the 22nd, went to church as a teenager because here's my story, Bishop. People look at me now and they see 5 degrees and 2 graduate certificates from Ivy League Institute, the whole 9, right? And they say impressive, but here's my story. I had a 1.8 GPA as a high school senior.
Yeah, yeah.
Went to church and didn't even attend church that much as a teenager. And something happened on a Sunday where I felt that, you know what, I could give college a chance, even though a high school counselor told me I was not college material. Went on to a college center down in Center City, Philadelphia. Brother by the name of Mr. Bird, he said, "No, it's not looking good here on paper, but I believe I can make a phone call." made a phone call to Grambling State University, University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Everybody else denied me, but those two colleges opened up their doors. So when we think about, again, the convergence of the importance of hearing the gospel, but when you hear the good news, there's some natural realities. That's what I'm believing for on August the 22nd.
I am so looking forward to it. The service is going to be at St. Paul Church.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And Bishop Amos, who is my frat brother, he's a Q,
Yes.
and my friend, will be there celebrating at 7 o'clock,
Yes.
and looking for just a wonderful time. I want to kind of close my comment today. As I lead IMAC, I just think that if we're going to speak truth to power, that we have to let the truth be the truth. And if the truth is going to make us free, it's going to make us free when we don't compromise its truth.
That's right.
And I think sometimes that the culture brings us a climate of compromise. And my conviction to the word will not allow me to go contradictory to what he has already said. Like, I'm not trying to come up with a new gospel. I'm not trying to come up with a new book. I'm trying to lean on his word, because I believe that Jesus Christ is still the only thing left right in the wrong world.
There we go.
I believe that we're going to make it. It's been wonderful having you with me, Ronnie. You know, I love you. I appreciate you. I celebrate you. Thank God for all the great work that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
And I look forward to working with you through the August Quarterly, and we're going to have a good time. We're going to be looking for you at the August Quarterly. Make sure that you meet us there. Don't forget, on Sunday, the big gospel musical fest by Reach Gospel Radio, and the stage is going to be packed with wonderful, wonderful guests. Who was our guest on that night?
On that day, coming in from Birmingham, Alabama, none other than James Fortune. He's going to close us out.
He's going to close it out. He's going to
closing
shut the
us
door. Look at, enjoy yourself. We love you. Appreciate you.
Yes.
We out, man.
I'm mad. Got to get back. I need some get back.